Greetings, fellow gorehounds, and welcome back to a Blood Splattered vlog. I'm the Horror Guru.
And I'm Count Jackula.
And today we're going to talk about In the Earth, the latest movie by Ben Wheatley, who is the filmmaker behind such films as Kill List, Sightseers, and High Rise, two of which I've seen and fucking love, but I've still yet to see High Rise.
I haven't seen High Rise
I still
either.
need to see High Rise. But I'm a big fan of Kill List, and I'm a big fan of Sightseers, so I watched this movie pretty much blind outside of the basic premise of people going into the woods and something happening with the woods. Purely because I'm a Ben Wheatley fan and I'll watch anything he makes.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, I dug this movie.
No, this one's good. This one does remind me a lot of Kill List.
Yes.
Specifically.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, you're in the woods most of the time.
Yeah.
Some weird culty thing is happening.
From all the Ben Wheatley movies I've seen, including In the Field of England, which is another movie he made, Ben Wheatley has a very, very, like, all his movies are different, but they all have a very particular formula to them. There's kind of like, they're often shot in a very understated way with like kind of like handheld cameras a lot of the time. It's not like super shaky, but it's
it's a noticeable steady cam.
You know, and they're often very understated and very grounded in realism for like the first half of the movie, and then the second half of the movie things go insane.
Yeah. It's like they start out as almost as mumblecore films.
Yes, yeah.
But by the end of it, like, you're beyond the black rainbow.
Yeah.
And you're like, what the
that was
fuck
true
is going on?
That was true of Kill List, that was true of Sightseers, true of In the Field of England, and I haven't seen High Rise, but I guarantee
it happens.
Even though that's his bigger budget movie he made, I guarantee there's an element of that there too.
Yeah. Spider's gonna come out of the wall, gravity's gonna reverse itself, some shit's gonna happen, I guarantee it.
Absolutely. So I this movie is no different. It has that same kind of vibe to it. So if you like those other movies, then you should definitely check this out right off the front. But the thing I like about that's very unique to this movie is very much about man and nature.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of got almost like a pagan tilt to it.
Oh yeah. Well, it's also specifically about the idea that man and nature are connected through fungus.
Yeah.
Fungi.
Yeah.
Fungi. I don't know how you fucking say that.
It definitely feels like a movie that someone made because they went on a camping trip and dropped some acid.
Oh yeah. Yeah. This is like, the shrooms are talking.
Yeah.
Man, the shrooms are in my brain and they're talking to me.
One element that's actually really cool, and I gotta commend Ben Wheatley and everyone else that worked on this movie for doing this. This movie was filmed during the pandemic, so it was filmed last year and then released this year. Well, I think it was released earlier last year in some countries, but it was released this year for America. It's a British film. And he actually managed to work in the pandemic into the plot, so that in the plot of the movie there is a pandemic taking place.
Yeah, you don't know if it's COVID-19 because they never specify what's going on, but there's definitely like some sort of outbreak that is happening.
Yeah, and I like that they didn't specifically cite COVID-19 because it allows the movie in the future to not necessarily feel as dated as it could be.
Yeah, exactly.
But because of that, it actually justified people like wearing masks and stuff, especially in the very beginning of the movie before we go into the woods and we're in the more crowded environments, that they're actually wearing the mask and they're actually like taking all the precautions that you would take during a pandemic like the one we had.
Yeah, and also people being very isolated.
Yep. Absolutely. Which also plays a thematic element into the movie, because part of the movie is you having a person who has spent most of his life in isolation before pandemic and now had to go through the pandemic and is now trying to like trek back into nature. Now he has other reasons we'll get into the spoilers for why he's doing this, but he's trekking into nature and using the fact that he is going to be working with these scientists in the woods to test this fungi as like his excuse to go out into the world, because he's been kind of denied it for a while.
Yeah, one of the things I like is that I felt that Ben Wheatley was really trying to go for claustrophobia outside.
Mm-hmm. Like that's because of all that, I related to this movie a lot because of that. Like, I am not a nature person. I have
Right.
severe allergies. I don't go camping. If I'm near flowers, I die. Like, you know. Oh,
Oh, all right. Sorry about that. Had to answer the door.
yes. So I definitely related to this movie because, like, you know, I have severe allergies. I have asthma, so I don't go into the woods. It's not a thing I generally like to do. I've done it, but I don't really like to do it. But after being inside for like a whole year and not connecting with people, there's a part of me that wants to go out into the woods and just camp, right?
Yeah,
you know, like,
yeah.
There's a part of me that just wants to get out and connect to that. So like, I related to it, you know, because this character is very much one of those nerds that obviously doesn't go outside.
Yeah.
Very much. So I really related to that, and the fact that it was set during a pandemic just made it even more relatable.
Yeah, yeah. The central theme, which you find out relatively quickly,
Yeah.
is that they're looking for this doctor who is experimenting with fungus.
Yeah.
You know, specifically a huge one of those huge fungal growths that goes underneath like an entire forest.
Yeah, yeah. You kind of have like, if you remember in like the movie Avatar, where it's just like, oh, the entire forest is a brain. It's kind of like a brain of fungi in this movie.
Yeah.
As it's described.
Yeah. Yeah, and it very much is kind of like, it's like making it's like it's kind of got that first contact kind of vibe.
Yeah.
But the contact is with a fungus.
Yeah, there are parts of this movie that did remind me of the movie Contact.
Yeah.
You know, a little bit. Contact is a little more optimistic than this movie, though.
Oh, it's way more optimistic.
Without getting into spoiler, we'll get to the spoiler section soon, because this movie, like about halfway through, takes like a fucking turn.
Yeah. It is a horror movie.
It is a horror movie. It is 100% horror, thriller, whatever you want to call it. It gets horrifying. And it kind of blindsides you with it too.
Yeah, because one of the twists happens like fairly early. One of the big spoilers happens fairly early on.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't want to mess with that.
Now, I will say that Ben Wheatley movies are an acquired taste, and I think that there's gonna be a lot of people that are gonna be really bored by this movie. But if you're the kind of person that likes this kind of movie, if you like the weird combination of mumblecore and trippy mindfucks that Ben Wheatley makes, then this movie's gonna be 100% up your alley.
Yeah, but if you're a kind of person who absolutely needs an unambiguous ending,
Yeah,
you're out of luck.
That's
not the kind of movies he makes.
That's another staple of the Ben Wheatley movie, is the ambiguous ending. Like, you have an idea of what happened at the end, but there's always these questions that are kind of left lingering.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else we should say before spoilers?
No, I think that's... Oh, well, thumbs up.
Thumbs up, yeah. 100%. In the Earth is currently available on various platforms, mainly to rent right now. I don't know if any of them actually has it like on the Netflix or anything like that. So you're probably going to have to pay for it to watch it. But I highly recommend you do. I think this movie is 100% worth a watch. It is another great 2021 horror movie.
Yeah, if you like to kill list, you'll like this.
Yeah, if you like Kill List, 100%. The other thing I forgot to mention is that it also has, despite its understated, kind of serious, grounded tone, it's got Ben Wheatley's dark sense of humor throughout.
Oh, yeah.
There's some genuinely funny moments that are kind of unexpected because of how this movie is for most of it. Oh, let me insert this earlier on into the vlog. Yeah, do not watch this movie if you have epilepsy. There's flashing lights up the wazoo.
It'll fuck you up.
Yeah, do not watch this movie if you have epilepsy. You have been warned. And with that said, let us move on to the spoilers.
All right, so they run into this guy about
Yeah.
halfway through the movie.
Yep. He kind of comes across like British Tommy Chong.
Yeah.
He's this kind of like, you get the idea that he's like a homeless person living in the woods. He's obviously like a hippie like person, because like he brews his own like live off the earth kind of guy.
Yeah. You have to expect him to say like, I made this out of my own urine, you know, like.
You know, and he plays a little like an acoustic guitar at one point. So he's got these massive hippie vibes going on with him. They initially find him after they were just attacked in their sleep and their shoes were stolen, and the main character's foot is sliced on a rock because of the lack of shoe. Which, for the record, early on in the movie, we actually saw someone smashing a bunch of rocks and putting these sharp rocks in the soil. So it is pretty clear that most likely the main character cut his foot on one of those rocks we saw in the intro to the movie. I actually like the movie's called In the Earth, and it opened up with someone putting something in the earth.
In the earth, yeah.
Like, I love stupidly on the stuff like that sometimes. So this guy basically offers to take him into their tent, despite the fact that they're in a pandemic. They're all like trying to like keep their distance and be careful about that. But he offers them food, he offers them some shoes and stuff, and he offers them homemade tea, which is drugged.
Yeah.
And I really like the way this sequence is shot, because one of the cool things they did was, because we're in the woods, we're in his tents, but they used the weird fabrics that he put together to create the tents.
Yeah.
To create different colored rooms within the tents.
Yeah.
So they could shine light through it, so you could have like red lighting during the sequence in which they realize they're drugged. And I thought that was really clever.
Yeah, it was a nice touch.
You know, it was a way to have the colorful neon style lighting, but having it actually be justified in the scene. And I thought that was really cool.
It made it kind of subtle.
Yeah. They find out they're drugged, and they find out that he is like a full-on crazy person who is convinced that he is going to contact the thing in the earth by performing rituals with their bodies, and the rituals like are used to create art, which he photographs. He poses them in like little angel outfits on the ground in these weird moments. And it's very clear that they need to get out of here, because they're probably not going to make it out alive, especially since early on in the movie they saw a tent of a family that was obviously killed.
Yeah, obviously murdered.
Yeah. And most likely this was the guy who did it in one of his attempted rituals to contact this massive fungi.
Yeah.
This is we're like not even in the weird climax yet.
Yeah. This is like the beginning of the halfway point.
So now we're in like a weird backwoods horror movie, but instead of like a inbred hillbilly kind of guy, you have this weird salt of the earth hippie dude, who's like playing banjos and being super kind the whole time.
Yeah, he's super nice about everything as he's fucking cutting the guy's foot off.
Yeah. Well, we got to cut the foot off. It's infected. You have no time to go to the doctor, which actually leads to one of my favorite jokes.
Yeah.
So we have that element, and that shit is great. Like, I love that. But then the movie goes even crazier, because like they perform their escape attempt and they end up in the woods, and they come across these fucking like lights that are just strewn up all throughout the woods. Yeah, like
these strobe lights and these fucking like speakers that are hooked up to trees.
So that they're like running in the dark, and then these lights just start flickering and creating the strobing effect. And they find these like microphones in the forest and this one speaker in the forest, and through the speaker they hear this woman's voice, and they find out this woman that they're speaking to them is the scientist lady that they're originally going to meet. And here's where we find out that the main character's whole motivation for coming here is because he was in a relationship with that woman, this scientist, and he was drawn to come out here because their relationship ended, and he wanted to find out what the fuck was going on and stuff.
Yeah.
But you think they found salvation at this point, right? You think that like everything has A-okay, but then they find out real quickly that the scientist lady She hasn't gone homicidal yet, but
she's crazy.
She's pretty crazy too. And she is convinced that she is going to contact this fungi, and she's found this sacred stone in which people have, throughout history, contacted this thing, talked to the earth itself. And she's going to do it not through art and not through ritual, but through science. And sonic vibrations and all this weird shit she's trying to do. So you have this weird like dichotomy where you have the crazy hippie guy who's trying to do it through art and ritual, and you have this very uptight woman who's trying to do it through science and mechanics. Which I really like the weird like dichotomy you have going there. And then in the center of it, you have these two characters that just want to get the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
But here's where shit gets fucking wild, because the forest itself starts to prevent them from leaving. Like, it creates this weird, like, fungus cloud that, like, makes them go crazy when they go through it. Like, they have these, like, fucking, like, psychedelic fever dreams that, like, induce panic attacks.
Yeah. They're almost more than panic attacks. More like epileptic fits.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And they can't, and it surrounds the area so they cannot leave. It's like this Silent Hill fucking barrier.
Yeah, but it's all mushroom spores.
And so then the rest of the movie is them trying to help scientist lady contact the fungus so that they can escape, and hippie guy coming back, and then shit going even wilder.
Yeah. So, one of the things that comes up that one of the characters points out, which is, if you're trying to contact this thing, and it's trying to contact us, it's not human.
Yeah.
What's it gonna tell you?
Yeah. What are you expecting to get out of this?
Yeah, what are you expecting to get out of it? Like, even if it's there, like, what's gonna fucking happen when you talk? Who's telling you? What makes you think it means well?
And you have the two main characters that are both injured for one reason or another, and like they just want to go fucking see a doctor.
They just want to go back and get to a hospital.
You know. But they keep getting this same line back, like, oh, like you can't go. The hospital's too far away. You can't do that.
Yeah.
Eventually, this whole thing culminates into this wild fucking scenario where the hippie guy and the scientist lady have teamed up, and they want them to help them perform the ritual while also doing the scientific thing at the same time.
Yeah.
And that hopefully this will allow them to contact the fungi. But then it turns out, twist upon twists, they're actually planning on sacrificing the main character because the ritual is a human sacrifice ritual.
Yep.
And the whole thing is a trap, and they're gonna do that,
and maybe Fungus God will show up.
But here's the thing: the rest of the movie, you enter the Kubrick at this point.
Oh yeah,
like,
yeah.
You know the end of 2001: Space Odyssey, where everything goes into a kaleidoscopic nightmare.
This movie goes there.
That's where you're at in this last act of the movie, and like by the end of it, the main character is alive, but you're not quite sure about some of the other characters. Well, you know the dude is dead.
Oh, dude is dead.
Hippie dude gets stabbed in the eye, and he's like, "Oh, I gotta go see a doctor." He died.
Oh no, you gotta take me to the hospital.
That's a great example of this movie's great sense of humor. Fucking, they set that up and paid it off.
Oh yeah.
And you're left at the end going like, did they all just have a fucking psychedelic fever dream? Because first off, some of the characters were drugged in this.
Yeah.
And second off, we know those spores were fucking with their heads.
Yeah.
Did they actually have like contact with this weird spore creature and it showed them these weird visions and images, or did they just have like a wild as fuck fucking like drug trip?
Where someone was trying to murder them.
And it's kind of left open to you to decide. Now, some of the characters have decided for themselves what happened.
Yeah.
But whether it is actually what happened, that's up to you. You decide.
Yeah, because it can definitely be interpreted either way.
I didn't expect to do a plot by plot synopsis there, but this movie was so wild I didn't know how else to talk about it.
Well, that is kind of like the problem with talking about the movie. You like. It's definitely it's not the destination, it's the journey.
It is the journey. Because you're left at every point of the journey going, what the hell is happening?
Yeah.
The other movie it reminded me of was The Abyss. That was another movie I was thinking
Actually,
of.
the movie that it reminded me of was What If Yellow Brick Road had been done well.
Oh, that's actually a really good point. This kind of is a much better version of Yellow Brick Road.
Yeah. Huh. Because, like, if you're gonna, I mean, like, I was okay with something like Yellow Brick Road having, like, this kind of, like, weird, ambiguous ending, but the one they gave us made me go, no, you have to tell me what happened.
Yeah.
I have to know what literally happened.
It is essential here.
Yeah, it is essential to this time. Whereas in this movie, everything that could be literally described is...
There is an art form to the ambiguous ending.
Yeah.
Right, you know, like two of my favorite ambiguous endings are like the ending of Pan's Labyrinth.
Yeah,
or the ending of fucking Christopher Nolan movie.
Which one? Oh, Inception?
Inception.
Yeah.
Inception. Those two movies have very similar ambiguous endings where no matter how you interpret how that happened, it's still a satisfying story regardless.
Yeah.
But ultimately, like, the point of both those endings is it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like, as far as the characters are concerned, whether it's one or the other, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, and the point of the ending of this movie, when you're going like, wait, did they contact the fungal intelligence or not? The question is, how would you fucking know?
Yeah. And what I like about this one is that it doesn't ultimately matter, because what matters to the two main characters is that they get out of their lives.
They live.
And they do. And what matters to the crazy lady is that she felt like she contacted them, and she felt like she did. You know, she felt like she had achieved her scientific goal. So, like, ultimately, it doesn't matter which it is. It only matters, like, the only thing that matters is your personal interpretation at that point.
Yeah.
God, this is a great movie.
Yeah.
You know, it's the exact kind of movie that I know people would complain about because it is so kind of artsy and
oh,
weird.
yeah, it's a very artsy movie.
But, like, I love these kinds of movies.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Especially when they're as well done as Ben Wheatley movies usually are.
Yeah, it didn't feel pretentious.
Mm-hmm.
You know, which there's a bit of an art to that as well. Because
I've seen movies like the movies he tries to make. I've seen people try to emulate that kind of style and making really pretentious movies.
Oh yeah.
I never get that vibe from his movies.
No, never.
You know, Kill List felt like a very raw movie. It goes weird at the end.
Yeah.
But it felt very raw.
Yeah, it is about, like,
you know,
two contract killers. You know?
Sightseers is fucking wild and hilarious, but definitely doesn't feel pretentious. Like, I know some people would call these movies pretentious, but this isn't pretension to me.
No. It feels way too stripped. These movies feel way too stripped down before you get to the crazy crap.
Yeah.
You know, like they're filmed very soberly until the weird shit happens.
Absolutely. All right, do we have anything else we want to say about In the Earth?
I think you should see this movie.
Yeah, you should absolutely see this movie. So where can they find you, Count Jackula?
Well, you can find me on Twitch at Count_Jackula, where I stream twice a week on Thursdays and Sundays starting at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. You can also follow me on Twitter at JackSatanWave, and you can also follow me on Instagram at Satanic Jackula. And Mushroom Kingdom.
Is that going to be the hashtag?
Yes.
If you made
hashtag Mushroom Kingdom.
If you made it this far into the vlog, then put hashtag Mushroom Kingdom down below. Work it into your comments somewhere so I know that you've watched all the way through. Y'all know me, I'm the Horror Guru. You can find me at the Horror Guru on Twitch, on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram. Just look up the Horror Guru or Blood Splattered Cinema and I'll be there. Don't forget to ring that notification bell so you're notified of my videos immediately upon their upload. And if you would like to help out either of us more directly, be sure to check out our Patreon pages. And remember, if you decide to go the Patreon route, even $1 a month can go a long way. And with all that said, we have one more vlog to record in this particular recording session, so you're going to see this shirt one more time, and let's go do that. So peace out, my fellow gorehounds.
And we'll stab you in the eye later. You'll get that when you watch the movie.